So, hi Tanisha, how are you today? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good too. So, today we are here for the conversation on the topic the importance of communication in families, right? So,
Yes,
what are your views on it? Do you have good terms with your families? Are you on talking terms with your families? Of course, you're on talking terms, but do you communicate about everything? How do you see this basic topic?
ma'am. As of communication in the family, I think it's it's a very small step that is there, but it's very important
Mhm.
because having a good communication in the family um, helps us to build a stronger bond with each of the members, maintain the relationship well, and also as even if there's a conflict in the family, that can be easily settled down by having a meaningful conversation and communication. And
Mhm.
if a person has any kind of problem, so the family members can easily advise them because when a person has meaningful conversation and communication with their family, it will eventually help them as the family members can easily express their feelings, their views, and their concerns. So I have particularly divided this particular thing in three forms how communication can actually,
Okay.
as first is definitely understanding, as having a good communication will definitely help for or to build a good relationship, I can say, with the person. And second is about the articulation. As for a communication, I can say it also it also creates an environment as well. As if I can say, I have an example as
Mhm.
of two children. One can be children A and one can be children B. So, if the children A, in the family of children A, communication was always prioritized and was always given importance. So, in the future, if children A has any kind of problem or any kind of thing that he has to share, then it will be very easy for him to share it with his family members because that thing was always prioritized in his family, which will also make him confident for taking further decisions in his future. Whereas, on the other hand, if we see for children B, in his family, if the communication was never prioritized, each of the family members was busy in their own work. They did not prioritize spending time together, of sitting down and having two or three words with each other. So, in the future, if that person will have to take any decision or will have to make any decision, so it will be hard for him to be able to communicate with the person and in the family. So I think these are the two prospects that we can see that why communication is really important for the articulation. And the third can be as the environment as well, as in a family of four, if all the four members are very close to each other, they have a good bond, they sit with each other, communicate. So that will definitely be a very good reason and very good base for comfortability and the growth of that particular person. As we have seen that now the people have started to shift more to the nuclear family, even if they have a joint family, because
Yeah.
that can be because of the miscommunication that they may have. And nowadays, people have started to think it as it's better not to communicate because even when they'll try to communicate, they'll just think that we'll start having conflicts. So it's better not to communicate and to stay away.
Right.
So instead of communicating, they have started to staying away from each other. And social media is definitely one of the reason. As even if in a family we are there sitting in a room, each one of them will be there in their phone, will be operating their phone, and none of them will be initiating the urge to like have a conversation and have like any kind of like that can be a gossip or that can be a small talk as well.
Mhm.
So I think
These
this
are
is
the
one of the
reasons.
problems in communication.
Okay. I'd like to put a few counter questions based on what you have spoken, right? first you divided the scenario in two major parts. That is the family of children, type A children, and the family of type 2 children, right? Where they have been conditioned to have a communication so that when they grow up and face any sort of problem, they can communicate and ask for the suggestions. And on the other hand, type B was about, not being very open to communicate. When you observe the surroundings, my question is, when you observe the surroundings, which type of category of people do you usually find? And how can we modify that if that's negative? If
I think yes.
yeah.
I think the type of children I have seen more in my surroundings as
Mhm.
um, the communication isn't given much importance nowadays in families, as they will think that okay, whatever you want, because now people don't have time to spend together with each other. So they don't give importance to communication, which then directly results into conflicts and not like lack of communication that directly results into disconnection between them.
Mhm.
So I have definitely seen type of children be more, and for like having a solution to it is definitely opening about the problems that I or that person faces, because communicating will only help to balance and to settle the situations better. So
Right.
instead of keeping things to ourselves, because we often don't even communicate because of the fear of judgment that what the other person may or may not think about us. So
Mhm.
I think to keep that fear aside and to be able to communicate properly, heart to heart, honestly, openly, that should be the thing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's become some sort of loop. Earlier, maybe people were afraid of communicating. Gradually, the communication, kept on decreasing. And now they have developed this fear in themselves that we've not communicated for so long. And now, if I start communicating, how are people going to take it? Everybody's thinking this, but nobody's able to take the first step to communicate, right? I think that's what is the reason. And of course, fear of judgment is there. Everybody feels lonely. Everybody wants somebody to communicate, but they don't want to be the person who, somebody can communicate with. So I think that's what has become more like a loop, right? And sometimes ego problems are also there, right? Like if a child is growing in a surrounding, let's say having friends like, who prioritize individualism, right? Like let's say I'm a teenager. I have a group of people who prioritize individualism and say that this is the new cool thing which is coming into the market. Like social media, of course, is one of the thing which adds fuel to the fire, and that totally comes into picture. And we can see the direct effect of it also, especially after COVID. We have seen that children have totally stopped communicating even to their friends. They just are getting influenced. What they are talking about are also things and people only, which they have listened to or seen on social media, right? So that's somewhere suppressing
Yes,
their real needs. Do you think this is the reason that, being on social media, such huge influences there that they're not even able to see their exact need? But my need basically as a human is to communicate, is to figure out why am I feeling a certain emotion, whether it is jealousy, is it comparison, whatever negative or positive emotion, whatever they are feeling, they're not ready to communicate about it, but they better, find somebody on social media who can tell them something or they can talk about basically. So it's totally suppressing their real need. Do you think so? Social media also does that to us. We just try to divert
that would definitely,
ourselves.
ma'am, as of the teenager part also, in the teenage, there's a definite lack of communication that every teenager might have experienced, as
Mm-hmm.
then in the teenage group they start to feel disconnection, as they feel that they won't be able to share what they actually feel,
Right.
as the judgment, the fear of judgment is obviously there, and also for the surrounding part, that they may get into some kind of influence of the people by which they may not be able to, because as there are very, very trending terms in the society nowadays, sorry, in the social media nowadays, which is generation gap,
Right.
Generation Z. So they have started to have this thinking that my parents or the family members of my family members have very backward thinking. So whatever I feel, they won't be able to understand. So it's better
Right.
not to communicate or better not to share
Hmm.
anything with them.
They're ready to suffer individually, but they're not ready to communicate.
Also, suffering is there, but also they even feel that sharing it with any of the stranger would be better, not to share, would be better than rather than sharing it with the person you
Hmm.
actually know,
That's true. That's true.
who has actually seen you growing, who has actually seen how you respond to situation. But I
Yeah.
think this is the so in this, I think in the teenager part, lack of communication is mostly seen as even in I'm in teenage as well, and I think I have experienced the same. Even at certain point of time, I was not able to share the things to my family members. Whether
Hmm.
I would be rather be more comfortable in sharing to my friends or any other person, but not mostly to my family members. As maybe that form of environment was not made, or that form of comfortability I was not getting.
Right. 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 Correct. All right. So that's what you have also faced, as you're saying. So then, how did you overcome this? And did you like make some efforts to communicate with your family, and then things got better? How do you think you have managed it, or still you're kind of struggling to manage that bond with your family members? How is it?
I think I'm definitely like in the process still right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh, like I'm trying to share more. Even they have started to like make such kind of environment where I can easily share what I feel and can easily put my emotions and my feelings, which will be definitely respected and my opinion will be respected. So now I think the disconnection is less now.
Right. Sometimes, of course, we have prejudices about people, like we decide the way they are going to react, whereas it's not the case. Sometimes we need to, be experimental and try small efforts, and maybe sometimes gradually it starts to increase and then things get better, right? One last question I'd like to ask you. Sometimes, like you're mentioning the bond between the family, I've also just mentioned that, right? These days, I see people misusing this term also sometimes, just that, like I see people going out for having, let's say a pizza. They call that we have a really great bond. Every time we want to go for eating a pizza, we just, call each other. We're always ready to go with each other. We're always ready to go with each other for a movie. So they consider that also good bonding, right? There may be, like, I'm not saying that going for eating a pizza or going for a movie is the wrong thing, but beyond that, if there is nothing, if you both are individually suffering, you both have the baggages of some sort of things going on in your life, but to remove that frustration, you just call your friends to go for a movie, to go for a pizza party or whatever that's called. You call it a good bonding, right? So how do you see this distorted term of bonding also?
I actually don't like these kind of words honestly because I think this is just the way to like this is just a way that they can escape from the reality for 2 to 3 hours of
Right.
either for going to watch a movie or hanging out with friends, and when they come back they'll be again into the same thing.
Yeah, I think even deeper, they will be more into their
More
pains and
than that, but
agonies.
they'll get 2 to 3 hours of happiness being with them,
Right.
thinking that okay, I have left my worries and left my problems. I've kept my
Hmm.
all the worries and problems aside. Right now I'm with them. I can enjoy. So we can like sometimes these kind of points are just for we can say time pass or maybe like fun,
Right.
only
It
for
can't be
fun.
called
Like
as bonding, right?
can't count as bonds.
Right. Agree with that. All right. That was really nice knowing your notions about this topic, and it's really great that you are making efforts for it. It's really nice to listen to that and know that. So that's a great thing. All the very best for moving ahead with this, and you've really spoken well. Your thoughts have also come across very smoothly, as well as the way you communicated. I totally appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, ma'am.